meeting is being recorded live on YouTube. And for those on YouTube, if you like this channel, subscribe and hit that like button. It's a plug.
Wait a minute. I've heard that before.
Yeah, hit that plug button. Anyway, just a friendly announcement. This is not an AA meeting. This is just one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong as described in the big book. And Paul, do you have your book with you today?
Yes, I do.
All right. So I have a little reading. It gets a little bit off the topic of what we usually talk about, but I think you can find a connection in here and connect some dots. So we're going to go to page 97.
All right. Yep.
At the very bottom, the last paragraph at the very bottom, for the type of alcoholic.
Yep.
And it goes, for the type of alcoholic who is able and willing to get well, little charity in the ordinary sense of the word is needed or wanted. The men who cry for money and shelter before conquering alcohol are on the wrong track. Yet we do go to great extremes to provide each other with these very things when such action is warranted. This may seem inconsistent, but we think it is not. It is not a matter of giving that is in question, but when and how to give. That often makes the difference between failure and success. The minute we put our work on a service plane, the alcoholic commences to rely upon our assistance rather than upon God. He clamors for this or that, claiming he cannot master alcohol until his material needs are cared for. Nonsense. Some of us have taken very hard knocks to learn this truth. Job or no job, wife or no job, we simply do not stop drinking so long as we place dependence upon other people ahead of our dependence on God. Burn the idea into the consciousness of every man that he can get well regardless of anyone. The only condition is that he trusts in God and clean house.
Wow. Yes. Sobering reading in the morning. Yeah. Yeah.
Take that.
Well, there's a lot of things you learn. One thing is if you're lending money to newcomers, you're actually giving money. Yeah, that's one thing. If you sell a car to a newcomer, you're probably going to get a letter from the county that your car has been impounded, maybe. Those things have happened. When you think it's, oh, I can just sell it to this guy, but you have a sweet, weird feeling, but you think it's the easiest off the way, it probably won't be. So, uh, for the type of alcoholic who is able and willing to get well, what type of alcoholic is that? A little bit of willingness, yes? Yeah. Who is able and willing to get well. Little charity in the ordinary sense of the word is needed or wanted. So of course it's not like a engraved in stone in a tablet. It's situational. Yes. Now I know a man who has a lot of time. He grew up in a strange way when he got abandoned by both of his parents, and he had a lot of anxiety about not having any money because it put him in a situation of fear, a lot of fear. Now, to me, my relationship with him, it was obvious that he had this reliance upon the higher power, but just to lend him money would be the best thing to do. Because as soon as he had some money, the anxiety would go away and things would work out and he'd pay you back. Instead of getting psychological and saying, no, no, it's not about the money. In his case, it was about the money. Yeah. If he had it, the anxiety left. So these things come about and you learn how to practice, you learn how to face life successfully and face other people in life successfully. So there's no really written law about how to respond, lending money, not lending money, taking help, not taking help. Remember when you were out there, a lot of times help was transactional. There was a hook in everything. Yeah. So, and then you would feel that, but again, it was overridden your intuition because of the fear of not being taken care of. So you would make these deals with the devil, and basically the shit would hit the fan. So when you come into AA, you may have a really bad taste in your mouth about that. I did. I didn't. I wanted a certain sense of independence because I had been relying on people, places, and things for quite a while. Yeah. And so it was good for me. I remember when I first started, this lady who I had taken advantage of many, many times had gave me shelter in her place, but I couldn't wait to get out of there because I knew it wasn't healthy. And so I found a residence hotel in San Francisco, which was really strange. And it was a weekly rent, yeah. And they would feed you. They'd give you 3 meals a day. And I was sharing a room with a German student in America to learn English, yeah. And that was my first, I started to feel independent, and it was really healthy for me. Yeah. And in those 8 weeks I was there, I came to step two. I came to believe that something was doing for me or restoring me to sanity concerning the insanity of the first drink. Yeah. Because I'd been sober now for 8 weeks. And I remember I got a little ghetto blaster and I got a cassette of an old band I liked, all these things that I had lost. Uh, I I got that and I bluffed my way into a job as a house painter and an alcoholic painter hired me. Yeah. Neither of us could paint a straight line, but he was mostly loaded and he didn't see my mistakes and I was seeing his glaring mistakes. So I got a job and then things just happened. Yeah. I stayed sober first and foremost. Then I moved into a house in the Haight, it's in San Francisco, keep paying rent to the lady who was running it. She was actually extorting the landlord and taking all the money herself. So of course, and the weirdest thing is, it was on this street called Cole Street, and Hayden Ashbury is an active, drug atmosphere. And I was on the second floor, and across the street was this apartment that there must have been a dealer in. It was like only a two apartment little building because people were coming there at 3 in the morning with TVs and mini refrigerators. And so I had a constant reminder of that past life. It was awesome. I just look out the window and there'd be someone trying to shop something to get something. It was insane. And then and just life just as long as yeah, life just provided so many opportunities. Some I took, some I was still afraid to take. And it didn't matter because there was just a life felt, filled in around me. And all that life was ready to pounce at any moment and give me great gifts and grace. I just had to stop one thing, which was drinking. I had to stop drinking and using. And then life started to catch up with me. And what I thought was going to be terrible turned out to be great. Yeah. So, yeah. Where is it? Where were we again? 97. I'm going to read this. So, yeah, for the type of alcoholic who's able and willing to get well, little charity in the ordinary sense of the word is needed or wanted. The men who cry for money and shelter before conquering alcohol are on the wrong track. Yet we do go to great extremes to provide each other with these very things when such action is warranted. This may seem inconsistent, but we think it is not. And you learn, yeah? So the first time I sold a new guy, a car, and it all fucked up, I sold another car to the same guy the second time, and I was accountable because I knew it was going to probably fuck up. Yeah. But I still was into taking the easier, softer way that did not turn out to be the easier, softer way. So I learned, yeah. I learned by, facing life. So I believe this, instead of like, building a whole new engine, you just have to change one nut in it. And that's the act of using and drinking. You change that one nut, and then the engine starts responding. Yeah. And for us, I believe that's the admission, is the not drink and use. And then you'll be introduced to the program of recovery. And if you wish or have some willingness and go to that direction, someone's going to lead you through the 12 steps, and you are going to come out of it with a spiritual awakening. That's probably going to be sufficient enough to take that urge or compulsion that was driving you crazy away. Yeah. And now that would have been like a gargantuan task, is quite easy because you don't have that drive or impulse or that urge to get loaded. It's been removed. Yeah. And then off we go and we practice the principles of the program and align ourselves with the agenda, which have to be of use to other people who want to get relief from this dilemma. Yeah. And there we go. And now what you first thought you were doing is doing you, and now you're living from there. And the principles are sound, and principles outshine circumstances and situations. Principles don't bend to the situation. Yeah. Situations bend to the principle. So we've been given a sound pocket full of principles. Practice them and see if they work. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird or not, you may not have been looking to be, but you may be an upstanding citizen of your community. Who knows? So let me finish here. So it is not a matter of giving that it is questioned, but when and how to give. That often makes the difference between failure and success. So you now have intuition, yeah? You have a sense of what you're dealing with. If you were after years, how many people have you talked to? Mostly you've talked to alcoholism. Yeah. So I've heard tons of I usually the first sentence or the first two sentences, you can tell alcoholism is speaking through the person. Yes. And basically at that point you just take the guidance. Yeah. And then if it's you're going to be helpful in one way, one moment, but you may withhold that because you realize keeping people from their bottom is a disservice in many cases. Yes. And if you become reliable, that it's keeping them from the decision to rely on something greater than themselves. Yeah. So in a weird way, that's a weird way of playing God in a sense. Yeah. Which you don't want to have that sitting on your shoulders. Yes. Because then you believe, oh, I am the cause of this people being sober, and then you're going to take it personally when they go out. Which is not what happens. Yes, we're lucky we don't go out. Yeah, generally the general drive is to go out. Yeah, so it says here, it is not the matter of giving that is in question, but when and how to give. That often makes the difference between failure and success. The minute we put our work on a service plane, the alcoholic commences to rely upon our assistance rather than upon God. So this, I think, is talking about now, uh, the business of rehabs and stuff. Yes. The minute we put our work on a service plane, the alcoholic commences to rely upon our assistance rather than upon God. He clamors for this or that, claiming he cannot master alcohol until his material needs are cared for. Nonsense. Some of us have taken very hard knocks to learn the truth. Job or no job, wife or no wife, We simply do not stop drinking so long as we place dependence upon other people ahead of dependence on God. This would be incredibly if you had a preacher read that paragraph. It could have been like a hallelujah moment. Yeah. But I think their conclusion is correct. Yes, that uh, when people get their first partner, male or female, a lot of times they give the higher power to that person, and then they get disappointed and then they go out and drink because that higher power is going to disappoint them. So again, it's learning the easy way or the hard way, but there's going to be a whole lot of learning going on. So here, and I notice with people that work in the business of recovery, a lot of them tend to go out. Yeah, it's a difficult thing because service mixed with money takes it has a different effect on people in a lot of things. So if they're going to a lot of meetings at the site, it's probably good for them to go to an outside meeting. Yeah, 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 and put up some chairs there and stuff like that. I feel because I've noticed it. I know some people who've been in the business and uh, yeah, it's something mixes, it doesn't mix well, so to speak, if your job is service in a sense. I still think you need to do service, yeah, on a different level, like a soup kitchen or something, somehow. Yeah, yeah. So, but these are just my opinions of this stuff. So, again, that person, I remember I met one lady once, it stuck in my head. I was at a place called the Dry Dock in San Francisco, which had meetings daily. And a lady was there and she was talking about her condition and she was completely screwed. They were going to take the kids. She had no money, this and that. She went on for 20 minutes and I was totally aligned with how screwed she was. And she says, "What should I do?" I said, "Go to a meeting." Now, to her logic at that time, that made absolutely no sense. But in fact, it doesn't make sense to that kind of mental logic. That's why it works. Yeah. So you go to the meeting, and I used to do, if you know H&I, hospital and institutions, I did one for 11 years with this lady, Lori, last Thursday of the month. So it'd be every Thanksgiving every year. And it was awesome because she had been in this, um, she had been in this program and been in every part of the program that we were speaking at. So she was like a very good example of being sober. And she had about 11 years, and she would always talk about when she first went to this program. The lady was talking to her, and the lady was telling her, "I think you should come into this program." And she says, "Well, I don't want to. I have a job, I have a boyfriend, and I have an apartment." And the lady had recognized her condition and said, "Well, if you don't take care of this, you're going to lose that job, that boyfriend, and the apartment." And she did, and she ended up in the program. So it was a really great share. And unfortunately, she went out after about 14 years. And yeah, yeah. So I think she started working at that program and stuff like that. So uh, there's a lot to be learned from people who've been in the program a while. Yeah, they don't have to be called your sponsor, but there's a lot of sponsoring going on about how to face life successfully, really. Yeah. And to realize you do one thing, uh, and then you can do the same thing and it has completely different meaning. Yeah, it's weird. So, yeah, thanks, Mike, for this. They just feel like it's perilous to put something before the reliance on the higher power. Yeah. And remember on page 67, they they tell us really incredible statement, which is they look at the idea of fear not as a cause, but an effect, which is it's an effect of self-reliance. Yeah. So anxiety that you seem to have quite a lot can be rooted back with the self-reliance. Yeah. And in the reliance on the higher power, it will bring an ease and comfort to your basic everyday instead of that unease and discomfort through the mental anxiety. Yes. Because when you're relying on something that's not reliable, you got a feeling about it somewhere. Yeah. And it gets to be very suspicious and you may want to keep putting it down, but you know it's lurking in there. And yeah, so the basis of our program is reliance on a higher power. Yeah, yeah. And yes. All right.
All
Anything
right,
else, Michael? Did we get anywhere near close to what you thought we were going
man, you nailed it, Paul, as always for me anyway.
to?
But Kathy would like to share something.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks, Paul, so much. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I went through an experience of trying to sponsor someone for a long time, and she only went to meetings because I picked her up and took her to meetings, and always wanted a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there, and I really finally had to go to and reread the bottom of 96 where it talks about, that they might be trying to impose upon you for money, connections, or shelter. Permit that, and you only harm him. You may be aiding in his destruction rather than his recovery. And I finally had to just like cut her off cold because I couldn't talk to her anymore without her asking me for something, always asking me for something. And I saw that, I she was being reliant on me rather than a higher power.
Yes.
My sponsor calls these AFGOs, AFGO, which stands for another fucking growth opportunity. But that's what it was.
Well, it's so common, it turned into Codependence Anonymous and stuff. I mean, it's not an unusual situation. It isn't, obviously. And it it can stand on its own as a dis-ease, so to speak, where love love and enabling get mixed up. Yeah. And a lot of
Mhm.
times it's one of the hard lessons to learn, especially with parents, when all the love they have for their children isn't getting the child sober. And they've been sending them to $100,000 rehab and stuff like that. And until they get to the point where they cut them off, in a sense, and then that person, faced with that ultimatum, sometimes responds really well. They get fucking sober, and then they'll come back and really have some respect for you because you didn't put up with their shit any longer. Yeah, even they know, but they just can't get out of it. But they know. Yeah. The people that co-signed my little activities, I had no respect actually for them. The ones who put a stop to it, I had a lot of respect for. Yeah, begrudgingly, but I was happy that they were talking to me than the others were. Yeah. So,
That's really good for me because I'm dealing with a son who
mm,
I need to stop co-signing his activities.
Well, there you go. And then just ask for some guidance,
Mhm.
based on admitting that, ask for guidance, and I'm sure it will come. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Thank you.
is the action of reliance on a higher power. You tell the truth about something, you don't know it, what's next, and you have faith that it's going to be delivered. Yeah. And it truly comes to pass. Yeah. So reliance on self isn't a stagnant proclamation, it's an activity. I mean, reliance on the higher power. Yeah.
Mhm.
The other thing is a stagnant habit, reliance on self, which is producing that condition of spiritless servility. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a powerful thing around, on Thanksgiving. The person who's garnering the most attention is probably not even there, the alcoholic. Yeah, it's just the way alcoholism is. It seeps into everything. Yeah, it's not the blame of what the carrier, it's the parasite that it's carrying. Yeah, yeah. So, mm. I had my nephew Frank. He was my oldest sister's oldest son, and he went through all this, and he had manic depression also. He had years and years and years, and he's finally found solace in sobriety. He's over 60 now, and that urge or drive has been lifted. So now he has his apartment. The state, New York State, gives it to him. Yes, he lives his little life, does his things. Yeah, and he's found peace. Finally, it's really incredible. I feel, because it was always in and out for this guy. So it's never too late in a way. Yeah, yeah. But if you have it, really cherish it. Yeah, because you're really gonna miss it if it goes. It's gonna be it's gonna be a rude awakening. Yeah, if you've been traveling lighter for a period of time and that abruptly changes, it's gonna be a rude fucking awakening. Yeah. Yeah, so, yep. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mrs. Volkman.
Miss Volkman.
Hello, yes, from the furnace.
Fine.
Well, I have a little follow-up question with the guidance. Yes, sometimes I don't get a clear guidance, especially like she said, when it is about money and people asking me for money. I'm also not personally rich, yeah, but yeah, in this moment, I guess I'm richer than the other person asking me for money. These are small amounts, and was also a woman. I don't really know, but I gave her money. I know she lives, I don't know, on some money from the state. She cannot work, physical condition, whatever. And I know it became clear that she very much believes in the devil. Yeah, so she is a little devil worshipper, not, I think, of the worst kind, but still, it's like, so I got to know that. So I gave her money back then, it was small amounts. And then a long time, nothing. And then she came back again and asked me for money. And the first time I said, after the third time, look, sorry, but I don't want to continue like this anymore. And then that was it. So now, after a while, she came back again, and I was feeling, no. And then I could see that the message was deleted afterwards from her side. I don't know why. Anyways, some days later, again, she contacts me. And I'm like, I really don't know. I said, I think I call her. So I was calling her shortly, and she's telling me like, yeah, she has nothing to eat. Her boyfriend is gone and this and that. And I said, okay, I will transfer you the money. And in this moment, I felt like it doesn't matter, in a sense, it doesn't matter if it's true or not true, but if she really has nothing to eat, so I rather prefer to pay the 10 euros, was it? Yeah. And after that, I haven't heard anything anymore. So my question sometimes is here, it's nothing. I cannot help her. She won't believe in this power. Yeah, she still wants to believe in the other power. And sometimes I just feel from my side, if I hold back, I don't give. Even in this moment, I give to a person who is not really thankful, I guess, but I rather give it. But if I don't give, I feel guilty all the time. Yeah, I still feel guilty. I have that very strongly. And so I don't sometimes know when to say no. Yeah, I'm not someone who gets completely been taken advantage of. I wasn't like this, but yeah, it's sometimes still hard to decide.
Yes.
So yeah, sorry, it was a bit long.
No, well, it's not our typical thing, but here, this is, it's interesting to look at the guilt what arises when you follow through and you feel like you did something you shouldn't have done, but you're afraid of your own image or how other people see you. That's an interesting thing to bring to step 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Yes. So if someone asks me for something and I feel really guilty or uncomfortable, sometimes that's a manufactured reaction from the head. I'd bring that to step 6 and 7 and ask that power to reconfigure it. Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes when you stand up for a principle, you feel a lot of discomfort if you've been used to rolling over. And this is, again, that other one, life is setting you up for another step. Yeah. And we'll be there all the way to break this pattern. Yeah. So, and the thing is, if I give something to somebody, that's it. I don't have to get validated because they used it badly or thing. I just was moved and that was it. Yeah. I don't go
Hmm.
over it much. What I'm more interested in is the mental reaction of thinking that, the guilt if you don't give it. To me, I would turn that over quickly to 6 and 7 of our
Yeah.
program. Because
And
that,
and
it,
mhm.
yeah, it could be reconfigured. It could be made into a different shape because that shape is a little weird, it's like a mutation of the head, the guilt. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably that. Yeah, because I mean, the thing is also, okay, if someone asks you one time, but over and over again, yeah, that is a bit weird. And
Yeah.
especially in a case where I feel whatever I say, they won't receive it anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, again, then if you may have a feeling and it's on the money that you're doing them a disservice by giving them the money. So I would
yeah.
follow that. Yes. And then
Okay.
look at the guilt that arises and see that that's bullshit also. And then you're going to see that old idea and an intuitive thought are different. Yeah. The old idea is that guilt, and intuitive thought is much different. Yeah, and perhaps there's a better way. That's part of the better way is the intuitiveness. So sometimes I give, sometimes I don't give.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like yeah, and yeah, and after it's done, it's done. I don't dwell on it. Why? What's the point? Yeah.
Yeah.
But next, and every time someone calls me up now, I'm going to ask them first, are you a devil worshiper? Hey, Satan. Oh, and then that may really, that's, that's gonna, If I hear the tiniest hail Satan, they're not seeing a penny. So it's yeah. This is life, honey. This is we learn
Yeah.
to face life successfully. First, we got to face it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Stephen. Stephen R.
Yes, Stephen, are you a devil worshiper?
We have no problem. It's a
No.
higher power of your own understanding. Yeah, whatever.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that reading a lot. And when I was drinking and drugging, especially in my 20s, um, I owed everybody money. I cashed my check in the bar. They took what I owed. I spent the rest. Um, like you said, that I love that line. I was willing to pay any consequence tomorrow for relief today. That included, bills and all that stuff. I owed the drug dealers money. They had guitars and stereos that I kept thinking I'll get back. And then when I came into AA, when I suffered enough, and I came into AA, for a little while, I didn't have that. But then, because there was nobody else to turn to, when I got into AA, let me say that when I showed up, I didn't get in. When I showed up, I had a whole new batch of people that I might be able to apply that methodology to get. And looking back, it's the only thing I knew how to do. I was all I knew was, um, get somebody to give me something, and it was usually money. And what I couldn't figure out was, my sponsor, early on, I said, "Easier, how you doing?" I said, "Not too good." He said, "What's the problem?" I said, "I'm a little light on the mortgage," and which is amazing. I even had a house, but I said, "Can you kind of help me?" He said, "No, man," and which that was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I couldn't. I I was waiting for the tell that he might feel guilt or something like that I could get in, and it didn't appear. And it was awesome. And what I learned from that was, what I was willing to do was, sell myself amazingly short. Here's what he told me: AA is offering to get me out of drowning at the bottom of the pool, never have to go back in there and drown. And I'm settling for just lower the water enough that I can get up and get a breath once in a while. And I'm so glad, that they wrote that. They had that experience where I was still looking outside of myself for my okayness. I thought, or at least a little relief from whatever. So yeah, it was a good reading. Thanks.
Yes, great. Thank you. Very nice share. Yes, of course. And you may do the same act with people, but if you stay sober and stay with it, you're probably going to learn. Yeah, because I thought I was getting over when I really wasn't. Yeah, yeah, I really believed I was getting over, but I was losing a lot more than I was gaining. And that was a sobering recognition. So I remember when my charm fell on the ground. It was great. I was trying to talk to a lady at a bar, and I was saying what I used to say. And as the words were going out, they just took a nosedive. And then I just looked at her, I looked down, picked them up, and left. And I realized I had a big revelation that charm had been used in a lot of self-centered ways. Yes. Yeah, it was a trip. Yeah, it was a lot of learning for sure. And AA gives you the community and the backup to go for it. Yes. you're not alone on a limb, yeah, and something's soaring the branch. You're not. Yeah. You can take gambles and you'll still be welcomed at the meeting. Yes. Yeah, it's awesome. So, I mean, how many treasurers stole the money of AA meetings and actually were let back in, but they never became a treasurer again. But they were still, I mean, it happened a lot. Yeah, it did. The prudent reserve was in someone else's pocket. So, you take what is it? You take yeah, the thief out of whatever, it's still a thief. Yes. So, yeah. So this stuff gets hopefully weakened and drained out, which is awesome. Yeah. And I think 6 and 7 has a large amount of to do with that recycling process. It's not good enough just to see the shit. You got to turn it over. Yeah. Because seeing the shit and then thinking you're going to do something about it is reliance on self. Yeah. You got to see the shit and realize, I'm not up to this task. And then you turn it over, and that's reliance on the higher power. It's just that simple. I mean, you'll recognize it. It's a very clear delineation between reliance on self, reliance on a higher power. Yeah, it is. You recognize a lot after a while. And now you're in that new basis and you're in the better way. Yeah. And it shows. Yeah, you can enjoy peace of mind, know the word serenity, stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyone else?
No, there's no more hands. Anybody else like to?
We'll read that thing on page 100 again then. Yeah, I think it's 100 again. Not 100. Where is it? I think it's 97. Yeah, can I please? We've gone over this. For some reason, this is sticking in me. So
Sure.
at the bottom of page 97. So it says here, for the type of alcoholic who is able and willing to get well. Oh no, we just did that. What's the other one? It's a similar thing, but it's about trying to isolate yourself from any temptation and shit like that. It just ain't gonna work. Yeah. Yeah. And there's built tons of things now in our society that are meant to control and contain you. And as long as you stay in that hermetically sealed condition, you won't drink or use. But there's the aspect of recovery doesn't take hold. And basically, when you leave, many people go back out. Yes.
I
And
think you're referring to the bottom of page 100 to 101, the first paragraph.
yeah, so I think this is a very important one too.
Assuming we are spiritually fit.
Yeah, assuming we are spiritually fit, we can do all sorts of things. So the bottom of 100 of things alcoholics are not supposed to do. Yeah. People have said we must not go where liquor is served. They give you tons of these things. And then he goes here, we meet these conditions every day. An alcoholic who cannot meet them still has an alcoholic mind. Very good diagnosis, yes? So if someone has an alcoholic mind, you're definitely going to probably advise that they go into a program where there's a controlled element that they can't do what they want to do. Yeah, for 28 days or something like that, with the hopes that something takes hold. Yeah, with the hopes that they're introduced to at least the first 3 steps and getting started with the fourth step. Something. So we got the alcoholic mind like contained and controlled in a situation like a rehab or something, get on with it. Yeah, start that process to recover from the alcoholic mind, because it's if not, it's just you can get into that thing of being institutionalized, where basically the head managing your life leads you to having to be managed by others. And it goes on and on and on. There's that step into the recovery that's necessary. Yeah. To be like that free range alcoholic, to know where the coop is, but not having to live in the coop. Yeah. You can, yeah. So he goes here, we meet these conditions every day. An alcoholic who cannot meet them still has an alcoholic mind. There is something the matter with his spiritual status. Well, I don't like that, spiritual. I think it's mental condition. His only chance for sobriety would be someplace like the Greenland ice cap. And even there, an Eskimo might turn up with a bottle of scotch. We have tons of Greenland ice caps, tons of them in America, tons. Yeah. It's a huge business. It's a monstrous business, recovery. And it's not recovery, really. It's containment, in a sense. Yeah. You hope the containment's going to lead to recovery. Yeah. So here he goes. And even then, an Eskimo might turn up with a bottle of scotch and ruin everything. Ask any women. We had this just at our house when we had our Amelia's nephew staying here. Everything was great. He was here for about a month, 3 weeks or so. And then we had to go down to Joshua Tree, and weird circumstances he ended up drinking. So we had to drive back up. And then we had to make a decision and suggested to him, you need to be contained. Yeah. And so he I knew a program in New Jersey, and they took him, and he stayed there for like 6 weeks. Yes. With the hopes that a momentum could build through that containment of what? Of a recognition of being fucked and the solution that's offered in recovery. Yeah. So here, in our belief, any scheme of combating alcoholism which proposes to shield the sick man from temptation is doomed to failure. If the alcoholic tries to shield himself, he may succeed for a time, but he usually winds up with a bigger explosion than ever. We have tried these methods. These attempts to do the impossible have always failed. Yeah. This is a dilemma, right? Some people can't live a year in a program. They've got life and other stuff. Yeah. And the parasite has such a strength, even in the containment, they won't recognize their role in things and stuff. And they definitely don't see something else's role in things. The parasite. Yeah. It's an incredible situation. I tell Amelia how lucky she is. Her kids don't have any addictive tendencies. Yeah, because I've seen so many people, and one of their kids has this dilemma. What a ride that is. Yeah. I feel for you, Kathy, and everyone. It's an incredible ride. And you're left with just reliance on a higher power, because no human power could do it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a sobering thing, and being free from it is such a fucking unbelievable gift, to be free from it a day at a time, to the point the problem does not exist for you is solid gold, really. Just look around and you'll see how lucky we are, literally. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, anyone else?
No, there's no other hands up right now, Paul.
Uh,
Oh, Heather would like to share something. Hi, Heather.
can't hear you.
I asked you to unmute, Heather.
It's not working.
Yes,
Oh, is
Oh,
it? Is
it
hello?
works.
Am I there? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. Just took a couple hiccups. I wasn't going to speak because I am driving, but I'm going to park shortly. I'm on step 4. I've done the steps a few times. This one is for food. I've done the steps once for financial literacy in UA, and then once for food. And I got a lot of the step 4 last time. And I just cannot, I'm happy to be parking here. I can't thank you enough for this conversation, because to truly be free, because I started out in FA, which is kind of a Nazi program that flew me out of it because they were so mean to me there. And they were like, you're going to be found dead around bags and boxes like everybody else. So this panic, and their whole thing was like, be very afraid. And but then I popped out, and so I went nearly 20 years weighing and measuring myself, and then I got my father died in 2015, and I started gaining 15 or so pounds, and it's fine, but it's this program that to be free of it, you got to give up stuff. You got to give up your wanting to do something mischievous, but that you're not, because I do know, like right now I'm weighing and measuring, so I am kind of in a little bit of a lockdown, but I know me, and I know that it doesn't go well when I'm not. But it doesn't matter whether I'm weighing and measuring, but if I'm free of that. So anyway, there's the action figure that needs to be managed the way we have to have hygiene, and then there's this opportunity to for a spiritual solution. And I wish this wasn't being recorded, because I could say so much more, but I do want to speak to the danger of the addiction. There's someone who I grew up with, that I love, who fell kind of to the dark side through drugs, and recently died violently after violently ending someone else. And it's just, it just shows that he was taken for a ride, and now he's gone. And this is the power. He was willful, but a beautiful being too. And so I'm just so present, because I'm still in the pain of the loss of this and the shock of it. I'm so present to the importance of this solution, and to sit down. I got my little OA workbook, and I flip it and I fill out with a pencil, and I am saturated with gratitude for that little OA workbook, and these meetings and the steps, and just the cost of an unchecked journey, the cost of not, I don't know, and the value of this opportunity, because it just seized my heart, the pain of it, and it looped me. It's almost like that possession, or foreign installment wanted me to feed it, and I'm just like, and it did, it had me, and I'm like, change your mind there. So I just wanted to just speak up and just share how vital these meetings are, and the solution, and how deeply the solution is needed. Some break free, some do not. And all we can do is gather, and maybe just the power of satsang and gathering can just tip the scales a little bit, so that these things don't happen. That's kind of just what I wanted to say.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you, Heather. Yeah. It's a nice point to end, I'd say. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for a purpose, there's plenty of it in recovery. Yeah. 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 All right. Well, I'm going to start saying goodbye. Lebowski, wake up, and he's at peace, or he's passed away, one way or the other. Let's not wake him up. Hey, Michael Stacy, thank you for the reading. Yes. Yeah, this is facing life successfully isn't an either or situation in a lot of ways. There's a lot of nuance and stuff like that. But if you're at this dance for a while, you learn a lot of the steps, a lot of the things. All right, Mrs. Stephen R., thank you for your share. Yes. Wasn't it a wild thing when you realized when somebody was doing something for you, there was a hook? There was an expectation of delivering something later. I really started to feel that when I got sober. Really did. It was so much shit that was going on that I was missing it was so obvious. It was so near the surface. I couldn't not see it, in the first couple of years. It was amazing. So if I saw there was a hook in the deal, I didn't make the deal. Yeah. I was like, no, because I could see what was going to happen. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So Kathy, pleasure having you. And we're with you 100%. Yes. Mr. Florida, John, nice to see you as always. Tom Lazada in Tacoma. Rico, nice to see you, my friend. Rick Rowe, David in Ireland, Vladik, Mula, still near the radiator. Yeah, all right. Miss Volkman, you remind me of the movie. You ever see It's a Strange Movie by Michael Mann, The Keep? It's a weird, disjointed movie, but I like it a lot. It's a trip. That light reminds me of it. Miss Volkman, you're keeping the deadly, devilish denizens away. Yeah, you're the keeper of the furnace.
Thank you.
Matthew, UK, nice to see you. We're both sober, fantastic. The day is looking up. Very good. And anyone else, if I can't see, I can only be on one page here. Thank you. Thank you for your attendance. We're all participating and are loving something expressing itself through our group conscience. I always feel like I leave the room more content than when I arrived. Pretty cool. Thank you. I'll see you later. We have a meeting today at 4:30 Pacific time under the banner of non-duality. And obviously everyone's welcome. Zen Bitch Slap, event page, same password, same Zoom number for every meeting. All right. Thank you. See
Thanks,
you.
Paul.
Al in Vegas. I missed him. Nice to see Al. Joseph, missed him. Nice to see Joseph. I think that's it. Okay. See you guys.
See you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Michael Stacy.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Michael, for your love and service, Mike.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
My man.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Michael.
Mike.
Thanks, Mike. You're welcome.
Everybody have a beautiful day, except Rick Rowe.
Thanks, Rico.
You have a fantastic